Hey, Senda.
Hey, Phil.
Do you have any new short form games or just the old stuff?
Well, I got a bunch of ones that I started playing like mad this year.
All right. Perhaps we should talk about those.
Yeah. I'm always happy to talk about
music.
short form games.
And welcome to another episode of Panda's Talking Games. I'm one of your hosts, Phil.
And I am your other host, Senda.
Yes.
And
hello.
for tonight's episode, hello. It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. It's not a Monday.
It's not a Monday.
It's not a B episode. We're recording actually slightly earlier than we normally record. Actually, a lot earlier than we normally record, to be honest.
Yes.
So I'm actually slightly more awake and actually still drinking my coffee while we're recording.
Yeah, that should help.
Cheers. If we're doing a show, we must have a topic. What's that topic?
Yeah, our topic tonight comes from Shadow World 1, who asked us on Twitter, oh, great and most gymnastic of pandas. Just to be clear, as a side note, he included a bunch of very adorable pictures of pandas doing silly things.
That's where the gymnastic is how you get our attention. Just to be clear.
Yeah, that's where the gymnastic part comes from. They're very cute. There's one with its butt in the air and one like draped over a
pandas.
pole.
I could sit and watch. Seriously, I could sit and watch clips of pandas like over and over. They amuse me to absolutely no end.
They're very cute, and they're all babies. And this one is upside down with its head just like wrapped around a fence with its head on the floor. You know,
I still think one of my favorite ones is that one with the pandas where the person's going in to try to clean up the leaves.
Yeah, and the pandas are just like, they're in the basket and they're like wrapped around her legs, like, play with us.
If you could be cuddled to death, I think a panda could do it.
A panda would do it. Yeah, okay, good. Anyway, so moving right along, the question. Oh, great, and the most gymnastic of all pandas, could you please impart any new or updated feelings you may have as to short-form games? Do you have any new favorites, or do you prefer the classics?
Okay, so let's do a definition of short-form game. So since we're answering a question off Twitter, we're going to take some liberties with the definition of short form, since we weren't sure exactly which short form Shadow Wall meant. But as it turns out, both of these definitions tend to, in the Venn diagram of things, overlap with each other.
Yes.
So I think we will hit the right spot. So our first definition of short form game is a game that has a small page/word count.
Yes.
Right? So if, and not to steal something off your list, but if it is a front and back of a page or just a front of a page, right? That's a short form game.
Yep.
Right. A other definition for a short form game would be a game that plays in a shorter amount of time. If we consider that the quote average game session is 4 hours, that's not been true for me online. That's more true for me in person. Then a short form game is something that plays in the 1 to 2 hour range, right? Something that you can play like a little of, or in a small amount of time. Okay. And then the thing is that a lot of times games that are short in word count also play in a short amount of time.
Yep.
It's not necessarily true, but the Venn diagram of these things have some overlap.
Yeah, a lot of overlap, I would say, because it's a lot easier. In fact, it usually works better to try to run a very simple game as a short form game, which if it's a simple game, it inevitably has fewer words. So when we talk about classics of short form games, just to address that part of the question, because they are always good perennially, they are still good, right? But there are things we've talked about before, is sometimes in great depth. So All Out of Bubblegum is 3 sentences? That is a short form game in all senses of the word. Game. Right? I don't recommend running it for more than 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that game obviously has a kind of tone to it, right? So it's a bit slapsticky, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so to go back to our question, the question's in two parts. right? So are there new short form games that we are interested in, that we have our eye on, that we've maybe played, maybe not have played, read, whatever? And then, do we still love some of the classics? So why don't we just really quickly address a couple of the classics? In classics, we mean in terms of our definition of classics, like our tried and true ones.
Last year?
Last couple years, I think.
Sure.
If you think about some of these.
Yeah.
So what is one of your classic short form games?
Well, I get to name this as like it's sort of a catch-all for the entire genre of game that it bred, right?
Sure. Yes.
Lasers and Feelings, of which I have written my own, and so have you.
Oh yeah.
So Lasers and Feelings, Love and Justice, Rocker Boys and Vending Machines, right? Like these are games that I would consider for our conversations, classic short form.
Well,
right?
sure. We've played them many times over many years now.
I mean, heck, the first game I ever ran for you was Lasers and Feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was
and it was hilarious.
5 years ago. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So, which seems like both a really short amount of time and
forever.
Yeah.
Yes, simultaneously both.
Yeah, so Lasers and Feelings is my classic go-to short form when we talk about short form. And then, of course, I ran a lot of bubblegum in a whole variety of ways over and over again for a very long time.
There is
so that
an
is my other
infamous
one.
2-part Sasky episode that is an all-out of bubblegum game
If you haven't heard it,
off the tracks.
I didn't run that one, but if you need to hear what All Out of Bubblegum sounds like when you play it, I would highly recommend checking out those episodes. It's me and Phil and Jim McClure, and Andy was running it, and boy, did we ignore the plot.
Andy just steered that thing as it just slid down the mountainside as best as she could.
There's some really amazing lines in it, like, do you know who I am? And that it was the invention of Old Man Jenkins.
It was very silly. It was a very silly
slushies.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Moving right along. So those are some of the ones we would consider classics. I still love playing those games.
I also have a classic game.
Oh, tell me a classic. Raising your hand. They can't see that. You raised your hand. I went quiet.
I know that was literally for you so that you didn't just move to the next topic.
I know, but I just went quiet.
Yes, thank you. My classic, which I think is almost about as old as Lasers and Feelings, is Swords Without Master, which I would be incredibly remiss if I did not mention is in Worlds Without Master, Volume 1, Issue 3.
Issue 3.
Yes. I believe that you get in trouble. Epi will, I don't know, I put a hex on me or something if you do not at least mention where to find Swords Without Master. But Swords Without Master for me is easily one of my favorite short form games, hands down. It is a game I still play and run. I haven't run it this year, unfortunately. Oh, I think I ran it very early in the year. I haven't run it since lockdown. Yeah. And if I even hinted to my my game group that I wanted to run it, we would be playing it. Everybody loves it. It's such a great time. It is. I don't think it's sometimes it is not necessarily a short time game.
Yeah.
But it is one that is not very many words in terms of total word count, right? So it does satisfy the short, and you can definitely play it longer. I have definitely played it shorter, so I can make it work either way. And it is a game that I can come back to over and over. It is a game that I always keep. Back when we did conventions, it was a game that I always kept in my convention bag just in case.
So I am going to actually mention one more in terms of classics, and I was going back and forth on if I should define this as a classic or not, but because of how long I've been talking about it, I think I'm going to define it as a classic, right? So one of the other short form games that I love and is our default in my particular game group when we don't have anything planned for that night is
Wait.
What?
Good. What is it? I've never heard you talk about it before.
Exactly. So I was like, wait, I think this might need to be categorized as a classic.
And it's published.
And it's published now, right? So it's called Yes.
Yes.
By when, and the reason I was going back and forth on categorizing it as classic or not is because we've been playing it for ages and ages and ages and ages, but it's only published as of like last month.
So we're going to use this as the segue to go from classic to our new picks, because while this game is classic for you because Wen ran it all through development and up through publication, and you have played it many times, for most people, this will be a chance for them to play it for a first time.
We should say it is in an anthology of games, which includes another one of our short form games called Connections. But Connections is going to be a tricky one right now for the online space because there are some physical aspects to it. But there's a collection of games that just came out recently called Love and Resistance. All of the profits from that particular game collection are going to Races.
Yes.
So, and there's some really fantastic stuff in there. So, or if you just are interested in playing Yes, because I've been talking about it for years.
This is literally now your chance.
Now you can.
Now, we will also say, if you want to go check out our game, Connections is in there. Connections, the reason we were talking about it being tricky is that Connections is a dice stacking game. So it does have as a prerequisite that you are... Wait a second. Oh, no. What? Never mind. No. I was like, wait a second. I thought there were two stacks. There isn't. There is one shared stack.
One shared stack.
So it is two people playing across from each other at a table with stacking dice on top of each other.
Yes,
so,
in a shared pile.
Right. So if you are bubbled up with people...
Yep. If you have
a roommate, a partner, whatever, and you are bubbled up...
whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you want to play a two-player short form game, Connections is great. Connections will totally work. And I'll just briefly... Is it okay if I briefly tell the premise?
Yeah, totally you can. I love it.
The premise of Connections is that you are two people working together and that you come from different backgrounds and you are playing the game to figure out will you have what kind of friendship will you have at the end of the little arc, right? There's a little arc in the game about like you meet while you're working and then eventually one of you leaves the job. Yep. Right, you define what the job is. Like we've play tested it, and people were asteroid miners, and
there were what else? I had people landing on alien worlds.
Yeah.
I played, human ambassador to mermaids.
Yep. Very flexible in that respect. And then the way that you kind of determine the nature of the relationship, and I'm not going to tell the whole game, but you have a set of dice in front of you, and you are stacking them up. You are collaboratively stacking them up together. Yep. And it is important how long the stack is and how high the stack is.
The highest peaks.
Yes, and you have to stack, and different dice have different meaning in the game, so it's not all sixes. Like you have all
you can't be like, oh, I just have 20 d6s.
Right, you have all these different polyhedrals, and the different polyhedrals do different things when you stack them. Anyway, it's a game that it was a really fun game that we kind of quickly developed in between a bunch of other games. And it's in that anthology for now. It'll probably at some day get re-released on our own as well.
Yeah, with more scenarios,
rules and background and stuff like that.
Cute and little, and all you really need to play it is in there, and
it's very playable.
Yeah, it's super cute and fun. It would be. We just want to go back and hack it into a bunch of other different scenarios.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're not going to be turning it into a 300-page game.
No, no.
This is not a 300-page. It is very much a short form game.
It's like a 2-page game, and it will always will be. It's just like, do you have more setting, story arcs, basically, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, and then I just want to do one more before we head into the completely new ones, because right now we just self-promoted, we promoted Wen's game. We just self-promoted ours. I'm going to self-promote one more of ours so that we stop talking about our games.
Yes, good.
Another short-form game that is relatively new, as it came out last year, and is something that we both wrote, is a, what you call it?
Turning Point?
Yeah, sorry, I got a notification on my phone that I needed to check.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's Turning Point. And to be specific, it is the Turning Point Quick Start.
Yeah.
So it is on drive-through. It is very few dollars. I don't remember, but it is not
It's less than $5.
Yeah, it is not much dollars, but what you get with it is everything you need to run the game. The text of the rules is also made to teach you the game. Like, you actually read it out loud.
Yeah, it's basically the script that will get you started as a facilitator.
Exactly, with a couple sidebars with some extra descriptions. But you very much can read this PDF once, and then take it to the table and start reading it and playing it. It does play online. You'll have to do a couple things in order to make it work online. When we release the full game,
it'll have that.
We have a chapter on how to play it online.
Yep.
But it is playable online. And if you wind up picking it up and you're like, how do you play it online? Just drop us a DM or something. We'll happily share with you how to put it together online.
Or at least how we've done it. Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, we have we've run it for Gauntlet Con, and it's been very successful. We'll happily share with you. It is a Google spreadsheet.
Yes.
That will help with everything that you normally need. It will do for you online. Anyway, Turning Point's another game. That is a game about making dramatic decisions.
Yes.
And it is a game where everybody shares one character, and you play through different dilemmas. The Quick Start comes with one dilemma. The future game, when it comes out, will have many dilemmas. Mm-hmm. We have at least, I think, 3 more that we have. Anyway, so that's another short form game that you could pick up. And I should mention our Turning Point, you can get on both Drive-Thru RPG and Itch.
Oh,
it is.
I didn't know you
available.
put it up on Itch.
So is both Love and Justice and Rocker Boys and Vending Machine. Those are also available on Itch. Those are free on Itch.
Yeah.
Turning Point is a few bucks. I honestly forgot, but it's not a lot. But we did actually, we did put some oomph into putting that that PDF together. So we don't give everything away, because you shouldn't, as designers, should not give everything away. All right, now be done. We've talked about the past. We have shilled our own stuff.
Yes, good. Now what?
Let's go shill for other people.
Heck yes, let's go shill for other people.
So let's talk about some short form games that are newer or very new, because I have my 2 are pretty new.
Or new to us.
And new to us is equally well.
Right.
And hopefully they'll be new to you.
Yeah.
Our listeners.
Yeah. It would be good. And there's one other piece of this question that I just want to address really quickly, which is, have your feelings changed about short form games? And the answer is no. I still love them, and I am playing many, many, many of them. That is the thing I am playing the most of in the pandemic. So,
yeah,
I have whole articles now of short form games that were built to be played on the internet, and there's even more than there were when we started, because all of the Golden Cobras this year, not all of them, but many of them are built to be played online. I played one this afternoon called Confluence that was specifically a Zoom one, and I just thought of another one while I was sitting here. Some of these I have mentioned before, but yeah. How do you feel about short form games now? Phil, have your feelings changed at all, or are they the same before we jump into the new ones?
No. I love short form games for exactly what they are. And this is maybe an important point. I don't mess with short form games. A short form game to me, after I read it, if it's meant to be played in a short amount of time or one time kind of thing, then that's what I do with it. Right. Yep. I mean, there are other people who are like, I will play it many times.
Nope.
I'll make a campaign out of it. I don't. I tend to just stick with what the author had in mind. Now, Swords Without Master, I have actually run a campaign. And I call it a campaign, but really it was more like a book series or like an anthology, because it was like a collection of stories that we made with the same characters. That is a game that holds up actually rather well for multiple play sessions. But yeah, some of these games are just meant to be played in a short amount of time and then be done with it. And I'm very cool with that. No, I love them. I have not played a lot of them in lockdown, not because there's anything wrong with them, but only because I've had 3 ongoing campaigns that are just ongoing. Like they've been staying rock steady.
Yep.
So I haven't really had a place to fill in a game with a short game. I did play just around Halloween. I played
this Discord has ghosts in it.
Exactly. So I played that with you. And that was perfectly fun.
That's a game by Will Jobst, and I've been talking about it excitedly, I know, for most of the lockdown, but it's one of the newer ones that I've now been playing on repeat.
Yeah.
So that's one, if you haven't heard me speak of it glowingly before, it is a game that is specifically built to be played on Discord. It's a game about going into a haunted house. There are people who play ghost hunters and people who play ghosts. And the people who play ghost hunters can only use the voice channels, and the people who play ghosts can only type or drop pictures, which I think is brilliant. I think this game is brilliant. Anyway, but yeah, so that one is a pretty quick one, and it's on itch if you want it. But also, I think if you got that gigantic bundle earlier this year, I think it was in there.
Oh, the ginormous bundle.
The bundle, that bundle.
Yes. It was very many much games in there.
Very many much games. Yeah. Sorry, I totally just jumped in and stole your thunder on this. Discord has ghosts in it.
You did not steal my thunder. That was perfect. Thank you. That is one of our newer games that we were going to talk about, right?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Cool. Do you want me to do one?
Yeah, go ahead and do one because I stole yours.
I really don't think you stole mine.
Okay, we'll do another one. I'm
going to do a recent one that came out this year by good friend Jason Pitt. So this is Palanquin, and you can get this on drive-thru. I think you can also get it on itch. I think Jason's on itch as well, and it is it's $5, and it's a game about you are a group of people who come together to escort a queen out of danger. Right. So you are you portray you are the bearers. Right. So you are and I'm reading a little bit of this from the copy text for it. So you are skillful and flawed adults who have chosen to escort the heir to safety. And then you have these various encounters as you play through working to get the heir to safety. I think the premise is utterly fascinating. I love short form games where you have these mismatched people coming together, right? I like movies like this too, right? Things and I'll date myself a little with this one, but The Dirty Dozen and things like Ocean's 11, right? Where you have this kind of weird mishmash of people and personalities and skills that are coming together to do this thing. So this checks a lot of boxes for me. Also, it's a Jason Pitt game, so
it's good.
I like Jason's. I love Jason's designs to begin with, and I backed the Kickstarter, so I have this in zine form, which just also is cool, right? Because I love zines. So yeah, this is my short game. It is not very long. Let me see if I can tell you how many pages. I will tell you. I will find it.
Sure you will. Do you want me to move on?
No, it's fine. It's 32. 32 pages, okay. Which is actually longer than some of the other games that we listed. Yeah. But it is 32 in a zine-like format, so it's not very big.
Yeah. I mean, I have a very cheerful looking stack of zines from Zine Quest last year on Kickstarter that I still haven't played, including Obachan Panic and Girl Underground and the one that's from this year which is Heaven Has No Taste, which is a Good Omens style.
Oh yes.
Angel and demon immortals having a fantastic queer relationship game that I really want to play, but I don't know if they're short form or not because I haven't actually played them yet.
So this one is definitely on my Palanquin is definitely high on my list of getting a one shot going and playing. I'm very much I'm very much down with trying this game out.
So, one of the ones that I really wanted to call out, because I don't know if I've talked about it before, is called Couldn't Stand Still If You Tried, and it's by Sasha Renaud, and you can pick it up on itch. And it's very short. If I remember correctly, it's 1 page. It might be 2. So it's very short, both in text, and it plays in pretty much an hour plus however much time you kind of spend getting yourself settled in or sort of de-rolling afterwards, right? And I can say that with certainty because it plays to a soundtrack that is, I don't remember exactly, but it's somewhere between 49 and 59 or 55 minutes long. So it plays specifically to that soundtrack, and it will play in that short period of time. And it's fun, right? Like, and so you get prompts from the audio to react, and as you're listening to it, you're writing based on prompts, and then you're also reacting to what's happening in the music. So it's a cool little game. You can play it really easily online or in person. It's meant to be sort of written down, so you write things to each other, basically. So you could do it really easily in Discord. You could do it really easily on chat, kind of wherever you wanted. And that one's cool and fun and would play a bunch of people if you needed it to, in a short amount of time, which is pretty awesome. I feel like, having just talked about Palanquin, and maybe we should have called this out in classic games, that we really should have also said For the Queen.
Absolutely.
Because For the Queen, like, that's classic.
Another short form game. It has a Roll20 component. Alex Roberts.
It does.
Alex Roberts, fantastic storytelling card game. So if you have Roll20, you could definitely pick it up for Roll20 and play it there. It is card based, so if you don't have, if you're not playing it through Roll20, I'm not exactly sure how you play it outside of that. So
I've played it in. It's harder to pass around things like the rules at the beginning.
Sure.
But like, one person has to just basically read all the cards. But yeah, the Roll20. Yeah, but the Roll20 version is actually very playable. I've played it multiple times now, and I guess
since we're just rolling through here,
whatever.
If we're talking about that, we should probably also mention Fiasco.
Yeah, that's another classic.
Fiasco is both a classic and not because the new version is out, and it also has robust Roll20 support.
Yes. And the new version makes the setup like so quick because everything is just like card. Oh, they have names on them. Okay, let's play. Right?
Yes.
Like, it's so good.
So yeah, absolutely Fiasco. So Fiasco is both a classic because the original Fiasco is an absolute classic in terms of short one session games. And the newest version is out, which is, arrived during the pandemic for me and now sitting on my shelf, stacked nice and neatly, but I will not be able to use any of the physical components for the foreseeable future, which is, sad face, but there's going to be, after the pandemic, many, many game nights.
Many games. I mean, I
may take some vacation just to play games with my friends. Like, I may need to have there was a thing. What is it when you take vacation and you all go together to the same place and play games? There was a name for that in the past, right? Like,
what's that called?
Convention. Yes. I'll need to do one of those again.
Yes, we'll need to do an Origins.
Yes. Or just like a, friend con or something if we're not up to.
Yeah. Anyway, good. Do you have another one that you want to talk about?
I do have another one. And when I say new, I mean like came out this week new.
Yes.
And that is Invincible Sword Princess. I got to just say it again because the name. First of all, I would buy a game named for this sight unseen, right? Like, if I hadn't known anything else about it, if you just told me that there was a PDF out there called Invincible Sword Princess, I would be like, sign me up. I'm playing this game. But it is a short form role playing game. It is 7 pages long. It was written by Kazumi Chin, who I follow on Twitter. Very cool person with some really great tweets. Insightful, like really insightful tweets. I have actually learned quite a bit. Just reading, right? Like just following and reading. Anyway, in this game, you are princesses of a land that has been taken over by by like the Imperials, I think is I'm quickly skimming. I read this the other night and had have only internalized part of it. So you come from a place called the Hallows. Yes, and the Imperials are the ones who've colonized the Hallows, and in doing so, somehow your mother has been killed.
Ah.
And the premise of this game is you need to so here it is. 4 years ago at your mother's funeral, you and your sisters made a pact. Together you will find her killers, and they would be met with justice. And each of you has a sword, and you adapt your sword by adding technology onto it. So like one of the questions during character generation is, what adaptive technology does your sword have? Like chainsaw, boomerang, enormous size, sniper rifle, revolver, flamethrower, etc.
So it can be a fantasy. Oh my gosh, a Final Fantasy sword. It could be like a giant gun sword.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Yes.
And then the goal of this is you and your sisters are out for revenge.
Hell yes.
Right. I mean, and you have three. I believe you have 3 stats in this game: invincible, sword, and princess.
Yes.
Now, I will tell you mechanically what I love about this game. When I read it, as soon as I read it, I was like, love it, love it, love it, love it. It is a perfectly wonderful blend of Harper's Lasers and Feelings, Powered by the Apocalypse, and the Forged in the Dark system. It is a dice pool system, and you have difficulties of rolls. The difficulties determine which numbers on the dice are successes. And then each of the 3 stats have a move that tells you basically how successful it is based on how many successes you get. So there is a partial success, there is a complication system, like all of that built into it.
Nice. I mean, I can't wait.
Right. It's made to play a few sessions. Like you're made to play like a few sessions to hunt down and find like all of your mother's, like all the people responsible for your mother's death. And you define that in the setup of the game. You define like who your mother was, how she died, and who was responsible. And then you play to exact your revenge.
Nice.
It is available on Twitch. It is pay what you want. I paid. I stacked extra money on, right. I looked at it and I was like, this sounds great. And again, just a really big fan of their tweets and their discourse and stuff. So I just picked my own value. Like just was very pleased. And I downloaded, read it in like, I don't know. I think I read it in 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure that I could read it one more time and set it up pretty quickly to play.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds
awesome.
And
again, invincible sword princess.
You made me realize I forgot more classic things I used to run all the time. But anyway, carry on.
I mean, this game has you written all over it.
I know it really does.
I knew, like, in my head, my lineup for this game includes you, Schmitty, Gator. I don't know who else I would. I'm not saying I don't have other thoughts. Like I have like Andy, Bob, like a few other, but I very much can see like you, Schmitty, Gator, as
headliners. So yeah, pick a weekend.
Yeah. I should.
You should just pick a weekend.
I should just pick a weekend.
Let's just play it.
I could pick a Tuesday night.
You could pick a Tuesday night.
Because Mr. Mark is going on hiatus.
Yep, you could pick a Tuesday night.
We could just play on a Tuesday night. Although we have to be careful not to butt into Star Trek.
Yes, we have to be done by
then.
I
think I'm going to go get a couple of you together. I think this would be a lot of fun to play.
I'm ready.
I mean, I feel like there is like a million animes you have seen that has prepared you for this. Uh-huh. Yes.
Pretty sure I got this down. We're cool. We got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. There's just one more that I wanted to mention. And of course, I have played even more short form games than this year, because that's just one of the things that I do, and that hasn't changed and will not change despite, I think, bringing She's a Super Geek to a close at the end of the year. I don't think that that's going to change my desire to continuously play little contained stories, which are what these games do, right? So the last one that I will mention is Dead Friend by Lucian Kahn.
Oh, yes! Yeah. Brilliant.
I finally played for the first time this year, although it won things last year. Like, it's new to me. And it's a fantastic game, and it's very cool. There are definitely there's a couple of adjustments to be made when you're playing online, just because there's a cool, like, ritualistic element, because it's necromancy, man. So it's really neat. But that game is also delightful, and it plays pretty quickly, and it's not very much to read or set up. Yeah.
I want you to finish that thought first.
No, that was pretty much the thought.
So first of all,
it's a great game.
Yep. First of all, Lucian, great. Also, Dead Friend, fantastic. We would be, I think, utterly remiss if we did not mention somebody who consistently puts out short form games, even though I know we haven't played a lot of them.
Are you going to say Grant Howitt?
Yes. Like, how could we have a talk about short form games and not
mention Grant Howitt?
I did not want us to get to the end of this episode before we mention such games as Honey Heist,
Sexy Battle Wizards.
Yes, like
trash pandas.
Exactly. Right. So so just, yes, like
the witch is dead.
Yeah. Anything that Grant Howitt puts on a piece of paper is probably something you should play.
I still consistently apologize to John Arcady about his eyeballs in that
yes.
witch is dead situation. And Grant did tell us that the fox that is drawn on The Witch is Dead is officially named Mika at this point.
There we go. That's
so everyone knows it is official.
So yes, like I would have just been utterly I would have been crushed if later we had posted this and somebody was like, "What about Grant Howitt?" I would be like, "Oh, man,
all the Grant Howitt games." Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there are so many more. I have one more category I'm just going to mention in brief right before we wrap up, because we didn't feel like it completely meshed into the actual question. And those are games that are not necessarily synchronous, right? So like when you say asynchronous, so these are like asynchronous short form games, meaning they're short in terms of text to play them, and then on top of that, they're short in terms of time investment that you spend on them, even though they may be ongoing over a long period of time, right? So I'll just throw out a few that popped into my head. One of them is Twain, which is an absolutely, truly gorgeous single-player game by Jay Lee, I believe. And it is, it plays out pretty quickly because you set some timers on your phone and then you do the thing. And basically you LARP with yourself. And it's really fascinating and really interesting, how you can kind of let yourself go into that fantasy, in a really unique way. And, not to mention which the print quality, both of the standard book and the like Kickstarter special edition, which is the one that was sent to me, which is like astonishingly gorgeous. Anyway, they're all beautiful. So, I wanted to mention that one. I wanted to mention Over the Moon, which is a game in which you play two people in a dating sim. And you text each other once a day, and but you're really in love with the moon for whatever reason. So that one changes based on the phases of the moon, but like in terms of your time investment on an ongoing basis, very short, like 10 minutes a day, right? And then last but not least, a response to the esteemed Dr. Crackpot is a delightful asynchronous game that is not huge in terms of energy investment on a day-to-day basis. In fact, you just kind of engage how much whenever you want to engage. And you just fight about fake scientific things. We fought about kaiju nesting habits, I believe.
Yes. It was quite funny.
Delightful. It's delightful. And you just get as snooty as you possibly can about these truly non-existent scientific quandaries. Delightful. Delightful. Yeah, so I wanted to just drop in a few of my favorite asynchronous ones that I've run across. Over the Moon and A Response to the Steam Dr. Crackpot were two things I ran into this year. Twain is something that I discovered, I think it was last summer, when the Kickstarter was on. They sent me a review copy to be completely transparent, but I love it. So, yep, I think that's everything. Gosh, there's always more we could mention. There's more classics, Our Last Best Hope, One Last Job is one that I've run a ton of, but I'm definitely have been moving on to a bunch of new stuff this year just because there are things that play better online. And with short form games, because they are short, if you play them a lot in a short span of time, you can get kind of bored of them.
Yeah. And that's the nice thing about short form games is that you can just keep a rotation of them.
Yeah.
Right. So find some ones that really do it for you, put them into your rotation. Again, when conventions become a thing again.
Yes.
And I don't know when that'll be.
Yep.
But when conventions become a thing again, my convention survival kit always contains swords, turning point, and a few and then I rotate in and out a couple things. I always keep a
Action Movie World.
That's not a short form game. My other short form go-to would be Rocker Boys and Vending Machines, right?
Right. Rocker Boys and Vending Machines. Love and Justice. Ninja Panda Taco.
And also not that short. That game's got a full book.
It does have a full book, but it doesn't play that.
I don't think I've played that game since we played it at Tacticon.
I want to play it again. It was fun.
Never lost a dance battle.
Ninja squirrels.
Alrighty, let us wrap this up. I think we've given you plenty of short games to go check out. So many plugs in that.
I know,
and a very super pluggable episode.
We could just keep going and going and going. So we will resist the urge.
Absolutely. So in order to do that, we have to get to the end of the show, and in order to do that, you got to tell us about another show on the Misdirected Mark Network.
Okay, I'm going to do a thing because I want to talk about it in brief because I am really excited about it, but it doesn't have a name yet. So stick with me for this bespoke plug for the show that will come in the new year.
Project X.
Project X. It has a working title.
Project X is a show
that I am reluctant to share in case that doesn't end up being the real title.
Nope, just call it Project X. It'll be safe.
Project X. So, as you may have heard, She's a Super Geek is coming to a conclusion at the end of the year. A decision that we're pretty cool with, although we will miss everybody's faces or ears, as the case may be. But what we will be doing is we're helping one of our awesome friends, Miriam, start a new show, which will be a live stream actual play doing something very similar to what She's a Super Geek has done, in that they will be doing one-shots of cool games. And it's going to be a show that instead of focusing on women as GMs, it's going to focus on marginalized genders in gaming and leadership roles, which we feel like is the logical evolution of our original stance on this. And we're super duper thrilled to be kind of helping them get this off the ground. So please, 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 please. I will have more information on this as it kind of goes through and comes out. We're looking for hosts. So if you're interested in potentially being a host on that show, please drop me an email or a tweet or whatever. Let me know, because we're still in the process of narrowing that field down. There is no experience required at all. It doesn't matter. So if you are interested and you think it sounds like something you would be up for doing and committing to, please, 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 please drop me a note wherever is easiest to reach out to me. I would love to know before we start eliminating, narrowing the field down. Yes. And for everybody else, please, 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 please keep your eyes and ears open for it. I really, really hope that you will give Miriam's show a shot. I'm super unbelievably excited about it, and I hope that you will be as well. And that is my bespoke plug for the day, because that is something I've been working on a bunch.
So the important thing to take away from this is keep paying attention to our network Twitter, our personal Twitter accounts and things like that, as this begins to take shape, as it has a name and a launch date and all of that. You are going to hear all of that from us. Like,
yes.
We will be, I'll be honest, if you even remotely follow us, it'll be pretty much impossible not to know.
It's going to be plastered everywhere, and I'm probably going to talk about it again. I will endeavor to not talk about it again for a while now. But I'm so excited about it because I've been doing a lot of work on it that I just kind of had to mention it tonight.
No, it's fine. That's fine. It is and we're all excited we're all excited for the show to be coming to the network. It's very cool. And we'll be talking about it on Misdirected Mark. We'll be talking about it on social media. We'll be talking about it here. You won't, it is doubtful. It is doubtful you
will miss it, but get hype, people.
Yes. Okay, good. So, to close out the show, where do people find us on the internet? Well,
you can find us on Twitter at Pandas Talk Games. You can find us on the Misdirected Mark forums, which is forums.misdirectedmark.com, or you can drop us an email, panda@misdirectedmark.com if you prefer. And Phil, once they have that information or have found us in one of those places, what can they do with it?
Yeah, you should ask us a question. Shadowwall did, and look what happened. Of course, it doesn't hurt to just tack a few pandas on with your question.
Right.
Like that definitely.
Send us adorable panda pictures.
I'm not saying that's the reason we did the question, but I'm going to say that when I was like, hey, what topic should we do? That suddenly that popped up at the top of the list, right?
We were like, oh, look, adorable pandas. Oh, I guess we could answer this question.
Yes. I mean, adorable pandas alone won't get you a show. A good question, topic, an idea. Look, we're very flexible here. We'll make a show we'll make a show work out of almost anything. But we need something from you. We talk about games all the time to each other. So if you don't pick a topic, we're just going to talk about Ditch Lily, Star Trek, and a few other things.
We have a question about that, actually.
We do. We're saving that.
We're saving it.
I'm doing research. I'm going back into some old articles and stuff to do some research on that. Anyway, point being, this show really is about us talking about things that are important to you in gaming, and that actually means a lot to me. I mean, I talk about gaming stuff a lot in many different places, but the reason I do it is because I want it to be helpful for people. So the best part about getting topics from you all is that I'm hoping that when we answer these things that we're not only entertaining you, but we're actually helping some of you, right? So we really like getting topics from you. So please send us topics. We love it. If you like what we're doing here or elsewhere on the Misdirected Mark Network, please consider backing our Patreon campaign. Go to patreon.com/MMP. Patrons, the biggest thing is you're going to get access to the Slack room for life. It is our little bunker, our little shelter in these troubled times. And it's our little shelter of fine humans talking about life, talking about gaming, a lot of talk about recipes. There's a lot of cooking going on within our group.
Pandemic.
We get together on Fridays at East Coast lunchtime. To be very clear now, so I don't have to explain all the time zones. East Coast lunchtime, we get together. A number of us on Zoom. We host a weekly Zoom call so that we can just kind of, see and connect. We do a lot of things there. You're going to get the bonus outtakes from the show. You're going to get the after show from Misdirected Mark. And someday when pandemic settles down and life finds whatever its new normal is, there are other things that, like from the encoded side, that we like to give out to our backers, right? That means a lot to us. We're just not doing them right now because we're just not doing a lot of stuff right now because of pandemic. So those things will come back as well. What's really important about this is your patronage is what makes the network run, right? So from everything from our web hosting and everything else, but it is also things like Project X, right? Like
it is
it is how we can create other shows, because when we bring on new hosts and they need equipment and things like that, we don't have to make people show up and bring their own equipment. Like we can help them out. And if they need stuff, if they need a microphone or ring light, something like that, that's what that's what this does, right? That's what your patronage does. It not only keeps the lights on for the network, but it makes it possible to have other shows on the network. So those are huge things for us, and we're greatly appreciative of everyone who is able to contribute. Now, if you've already backing the Patreon, thank you very much. If you're unable to back the Patreon, we totally understand. There is another thing you can do that helps, selfishly, that just helps our show.
Just us.
But that's okay. I mean, that is okay.
You could do it for more shows if you wanted to.
You could take this template and apply it to other shows.
Any show.
But if you just do it for our show, we would be greatly appreciative. What is that thing? What's the thing they could do?
You can leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or the podcatcher of your choice. Every new review we get really does actually help new people find the show. And as we were actually literally just talking about last night, we have like walking proof of the if you listen, you will love us scenario.
It has been documented. It has happened multiple
times, right? Somebody hears a show and then they're like, oh, okay. And then they're like, I'll just listen to one more. And then they're like, I'll just subscribe. So like, it helps us out. We also just love seeing those reviews. Like they really do make us warm and fuzzy inside in all the best ways. So
it's not like we don't like talking to each other, but we like it even more when you guys are like, yeah, we like it too.
We like it when you talk to each other too. And then it's like, cool, we should do it more.
Yes.
Good. Yep.
All righty. One last question.
Mm-hmm. It has to start with show me.
Show me which new short form game you would run if we got a game together in a couple weeks.
This show is a joint production of She's a Super Geek and Misdirected Mark Productions, the media arm of Encoded Designs.
Show me what you got, eh? Show me what you got. Show me what you got, eh? Show me what you got. Show me what you got, eh? Show me what you got. Show me what you got.
Bloop. I did the click, clickety click, I did the click, clickety click.
I also did the click.
Good.
Click, clickety click. Click,
clickety click. Yep.
Yeah.
Your background is still the Four Seasons. I just
it's not the Four Seasons. It is the Four Seasons total landscaping. This is a Philadelphia landmark.
Famous place to have a speech.
The death of fascism occurred in this parking lot. Not with a bang, but with a Giuliani. Anyway.
Potentially a wet and sloppy noise into a pair of old man diapers.
Man. Oh, boy. Anyway, we're not recording on a normal night. Nothing's normal right now. I wasn't feeling very good. I wasn't feeling very good earlier in the week, so we did not record. But we had not recorded the week before, and we really aren't good at letting 2 weeks go by without a recording. So we've come to remedy that situation by recording on a Saturday night.
We should tell them this after the show, though.
Well, pick it up and throw it on the back end.
No, I don't really edit this, remember?
All right. Well, then we got to get on with the show. I'll bring it up in the show. You can just drop this part right out.
Yes, I'm going to cut this and put it at the end is all that's going to happen with it.
All righty. How does this thing go? Oh, I do it, right? Okay.
Yes. Well, I mean, I can do it if you want. Then I have to come up with a question.
I'll do it. It's fine.
Bloop. Oh, no. I followed the Twitter thing. Now I have to go back to find the...
What? Oh, you forgot that you lost the question.
I lost the question. I was looking at other Twitter stuff. Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it.
Oh, okay. Great. All right, fantastic.
Doot. So many times that somehow it sounded weird in my head.